there are plenty of ways which cycling can start getting quite expensive.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be an absolute money pit. There are still plenty of ways to save and spend your money wisely while still getting all the thrills in your pursuit of riding.
Yeah, so in this very video, we're going to share a few ways which you can keep the cost down while still having a whale of a time out on your bike.
Starting off with a bike, and if you're in the midst of looking to purchase a new steed, what I would say is try to go for one that is best suited to your local riding or what you do the most of when you head out on your bike. It's always tempted to get that kind of super baller mountain bike or that really aggressive racer, but if in reality, most of the time you want to be heading out from your door, getting in a road ride, maybe a bit of light gravel, and that's your go-to, then try and get something that's best suited to that. For example, what I go to is this. Now you can whack 35mm tyres on it, which could take you to some slightly less explored routes, but also you can ride pretty fast in it. So you can get those road loops in depending on what your preference is on the day. You could even perhaps opt for maybe a gravel bike and swap between gravel tyres and road tyres, and that means you're almost getting two bikes for the price of one. So instead of trying to reach for every bike under the sun, which is what I'd do if I won the lottery, try and be a bit smart and think before you buy.
On that note, look out for equipment that is going to last and is durable. Now, fast tyres might be great, but they're not going to last you that long. You're a lot better off going for an all-weather tyre or a training tyre that you can get a lot of miles out before you have to replace them. And the same goes for brake pads. When you're looking for brake pads, look for ones that are really long-lasting. Now, sintered brake pads, they're great, they're long-lasting, but you're not quite going to get the performance out of them, and they might just be a little bit squeaky. But again, back to the basics, look after your equipment, make sure you wash, you clean your bike, you use the right lubes and degreasers, and that is going to help make all your equipment last just that little bit longer.
Another way to spend your money wisely when you're out on the bike is to make your own ride food. Now, we here at GCN, we're really lucky to work with SIS, so we get plenty of ride food ready-made for us for our epics, no matter where they may be in the world. And there's a massive advantage to having such fuel to take with you on the bike because it packs in those carbs into a real small package, which is great if you want to carry loads in your pockets, but also allows you to up your carb intake whilst you're riding without putting too much stress on the old digestive system. However, it can be pricey if you can do that every single ride, so definitely try and make your own food, kind of spread that out a bit and maybe save that specific ride food for your big kind of targets, big rides or events that you're taking part in. Something I really like doing is just getting some brioche, bit of jam, getting it in the middle there, spreading it all about, getting that in the pockets, bit of tinfoil, and it goes a long way with something like a banana, homemade flapjacks, rice cakes, anything like that is great to supplement what you're already buying and taking with you in your pockets. Right then, moving on. So finish my fast.
Now, there are so many cool events to enter in the cycling world, something to suit anybody, from really relaxed sportive events to gravel, mountain bike races. There's something for everybody, including if you like kind of like that festival weekend vibes, they exist too. But let's be honest, they come at a cost. They aren't cheap. So when you pick one, make sure you save up for an event that you really want to do and do your research to make sure it's one that you're motivated for.
Yeah, but if you are left craving more, what I would say is check out any local rides in your area, check in with your local bike shop, see what's going on, join your local club run, find like-minded individuals, and you're still going to get that community aspect from the ride. You're going to be able to share that experience with other like-minded riders, have a great time too. Plus, if you want to challenge yourself perhaps a bit more, push yourself outside of your comfort zone, I definitely say take on an FKT style route or even just a real long ride close to home that you can head out without spending a penny to enter, push yourself beyond your limits. You have a great time. I did one recently, it was so much fun just kind of pushing myself and seeing what time I could do over a set route that I definitely recommend it to anyone to give it a go. Now, there are aspects of your bike that you're going to need to replace over time, and your drivetrain is one of them. So your chain, your cassette, and eventually your chain rings, they're all going to need replacing. They do have a lifetime. and they will come to the end of it at some point. But there are ways to extend that lifetime, meaning you have to replace them a little less often. One of them is investing in a really good quality chain lube, which will reduce friction, and also the chain lube itself will last a bit longer too, meaning you'll have to replace that a little less often too. So we work with Silca, who sponsor the channel. They make an oil-based lube, the synergetic one, which is a great one for what I've just described. Or you go the full hog and wax your chain, which has the added benefit of reducing friction even more, which is a performance benefit, but in terms of extending the lifetime of your components, it's going to mean that they're going to wear out a little less often, meaning it will extend the lifetime of things like your chain, your cassettes and your chain rings, meaning you get a lot more riding in with them. I love a good bike trip, but adventure these days is getting increasingly expensive. However, that doesn't need to mean that the adventure stops entirely. So what I'd say is consider things like bike packing, investing in a good set of bike packing bags that's gonna last. Might mean you can ride to wherever you want to go, make that part of the adventure itself, stop for a few days, have your bike trip in a cool location, then ride home. Much greener way of traveling too. Plus, look at public transport routes near to you. So coming onto a ferry, for example, as a foot passenger is going to be much cheaper than if you're going to drive on with your bike. Another good nod to the bike packing trip. Bike pack your way onto the ferry and go to your destination. But do check those public transport routes, because increasingly they are becoming more open to allowing you to transport your bike than they were in the past, as these such options are looking to promote greener travel. Bike packing, everyone, it's the way to go.
There are, of course, times where training indoors is necessary. Dark, stormy winter nights aren't the best times to go out and ride your bike. But don't let me stop you. Instead, we here at GCN love indoor training and using apps such as Zwift and riding in the virtual world, or doing some science-based workouts on the Wahoo System app. They are absolutely great. But if you're not ready to pay such a subscription, then head over to the GCN Training channel, where we have hundreds of free workouts for you to do. That's all you need is you, your bike, and a trainer, some motivation. It's all you need to get involved.
Getting a good bike fit from a reputable bike fitter is definitely a wise spend of your cash, in my opinion, for two key reasons really. One, if you're thinking of buying a bike or getting a new bike, getting a bike fit beforehand will really make sure that you're buying the right size bike, which is going to have knock-on effects to improving your enjoyment of that bike in the future. Plus, if you're not thinking of getting a new bike, rather you're thinking of upgrading some components, maybe making them a bit lighter, looking for better performance, I do think a bike fit trumps that insofar as it makes you more comfortable and more powerful on the bike if you're making sure you're more efficient when you're riding and addressing any fit issues that you may have by getting that expert eye cast on your position, and it will reduce your risk of getting any injury too, which is a big bonus.
And last but not least, make sure to replace parts on your bike before it's too late. Things like your chain, you want to make sure you're checking your chain, seeing if it's not worn, because if it's worn and you keep riding it for months, it's going to wear out your cassette and your chain really easily, and then it's going to cost a lot more to replace all those components, whereas if you just replace your chain in the first place, you wouldn't have to spend all the money replacing everything else. But things like your brake pads as well, you don't want to be riding and damaging the rims or your discs as well. But just by cleaning your bike very often, every week, you're going to get up close and personal and you're going to see what needs replacing.
So there you go, a few ways to be wise when it comes to how you spend your cash on your cycling. But let us know in the comment section down below if you've got any tips or tricks you'd like to share. We always love to hear from you.
Yeah, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a big thumbs up.
Thanks for watching, everyone.